We're back for another episode of So You Want to Sell on TCGPlayer, or maybe eBay, or Facebook, or Discord, or to your friends, or to a buy list. Where are you selling to? So before we begin the whole series, let's talk today about where should you sell your cards. So, I have a few props here today. Obviously, I have a sleeve of Sorcery cards to talk through. I have a very random, graded from a very random company card to talk through here, and we're just going to talk through some scenarios. So, rather than do a screen share and kind of put some charts and stuff up on the screen, I just want to talk through some things. So, let's talk about bulk cards. All right? Bulk cards for me, and it's going to be different for whoever you are, and depending on your time, depending on your level, depending on how many cards you're dealing with. For me, anything under 50 cents with high velocity, I would consider bulk. I would also consider anything under $1 of low velocity. Now, we'll talk about velocity in later videos, but it's important to note that I do distinguish that, where I may sell a 60-cent card that has a higher turn rate, and not sell, a 70 or 80 cent card that has a lower velocity or sell-through rate. When you start getting into some cards that, are of lower value, we'll say 5, 10, cents, you have to deal with touches. And I touched on the touches in my original, video, the prologue. And every time you touch a card, that's money. That's money being lost. It's an opportunity that you could use your time to, try to get money somewhere else. So you have to say to yourself, where's the value for my time? Now, if, for example, eBay and TCGPlayer are owned by the same company. It's the same company. It's eBay. eBay bought TCGPlayer. But eBay has some benefits of selling on it. The auctions are interesting to me. The fact that, you can post pictures easier, that all listings require pictures, and the fact that you can do lots on eBay, right? So before we talk about what platform to sell on, you got to determine, am I going to make more money selling these cards as a lot, as individual? Will I make more money on it if I have a picture, right? So, for example, this is Sorcery. This is an entire play set, well, minus gnomes, minus one card. It's an entire play set of Sorcery Contested Realm Beta. The ordinary Sorcery cards go for pennies. If I were to sell ordinary Sorcery cards all day on TCGPlayer, I would be making literally negative money. And the reason for it, I have to pay for shipping, I have to pay for materials, I have my time, I have to pay for the product, right? It is almost impossible to sell at such a volume. I do have a little bit of Sorcery cards, ordinary Sorcery cards, for sale on my TCGPlayer site because I don't want to miss out on a sale of a more expensive card because they want a cheaper card with it and they don't want to order from two separate places. And this will get into the card optimization discussion later. So I have some bulk, I have some lower cost cards, but overall, I may choose to take the rest of my bulk and send it to eBay and say, here's an ordinary lot. And I'm going to try to throw some math up on the screen here. But let's say you have a single card for 10 cents. And let's say you're able to squeeze out 5 cents of profit on that, whether it's after TCGPlayer direct fees, whether it's after all of your expenses and everything. Let's say you squeeze 5 cents out of profit. Think of all the time that went into that 5 cents, right? So if you sell that as a lot on eBay, and let's say you sell, 10,000 ordinary cards at a penny a piece, okay? You're going to pay less fees as a percentage because eBay fees are a little bit less. You're going to be able to sell all of that at once and generate larger cash flow that you can bring all that money in and do something else with it. And you're going to save yourself some time, because you have to say to yourself, is that 4 cents per card 10,000 times? You have to do 10,000 of these, 10,000 to make what? 4 additional cents a card to make what? $400? You're going to ship 10,000 to make 400? You'll be upside down all day long. You won't be able to pay for your building rent. It doesn't make sense. Now, if you just enjoy it and you want to put cards out there, you're like, okay, great. Again, I have a small amount of low dollar inventory to try to help make sure I don't lose the sales of larger, costlier inventory of what people want. So the first thing and the first rule here to listen to is consider selling lots of things in a lot on eBay, on a Discord channel, on a Facebook group. If, you know, you can try to recoup some of the money of those cards faster. Now, I use Discord and Facebook, so like I'll find groups of people that need certain levels of bulk for their shop, or they specialize in it, right? That's their thing. And if you do that, you can oftentimes have a reliable, safe transaction with no fees. You have repeat customers. It takes less time to sell, and you can move that stuff out fast. Now, when it comes into higher dollar, higher value items, I don't know. Let's take, I'm using Sorcery today because I sent all of my serialized Magic cards in for grading. Far East Assassin Curio. I don't know, maybe it's worth 1,000, 1,500, who knows. You can put this up on TCGPlayer. You can put it up with some pictures. But the place people are going to look for curios, it ain't TCGPlayer. It's eBay, it's Facebook groups, it's Discord, right? So you have to pick and choose the platform depending on what you want to sell. Things like this, high-end collectibles that you want auctioned off that are graded, this and that, like this, right? I picked this up on eBay. I didn't get this card graded. I picked this up on eBay for $13 shipped. And I did it because the card itself is worth almost $13, right? So some level of value of sending this off for grading, paying for the grade, getting a 9.5, God knows what SGC is. I'm only joking. I just don't do it. It was worth it to me, right? A little off center, which is why I think it got the 9.5. So I bought this because I'm like, hey, I buy the card, I get the grade for free. But oftentimes selling graded cards, it's great on eBay, right? You don't want to sell graded cards on TCGPlayer. TCGPlayer is great for cards that are between, 50 cents, $3 all day long on TCGPlayer, right? Because on eBay, you have to take pictures of everything and put it on. If you have a 50 cent, 55 cent abundance, you've got to take a picture of that and attach it to your listing. You have to make individual listings for all of those things. On TCGPlayer, you can go into your pricing tool. I'll try to throw that up on the screen. And you just go down and enter the inventory that you have and enter the price that you want. And you can have a bot that updates those things within TCGPlayer easier. So I would say I sell, 60% of all cards that I get on TCGPlayer. I probably sell 30% as bulk lots, whether that's through eBay or through direct, like to individuals who reach out to me and say, hey, Steve, when you open boxes, set aside all those commons, uncommons. I want them. So those folks buy those, and then you can do, like I said, Discord, Facebook, especially if you find misprints. Like, right, if you go on TCGPlayer, you try to sell a misprint card, you sell it as damaged. You're going to take a loss. If you sell a misprint card in a misprint group, there's a good chance you'll get near mint price, or in some cases better, depending on what the misprint is. So remember, in this case, I have this as an example here today. This is Sorcery Beta full play set. 4 ordinaries, 4 of every ordinary, 4 of every exceptional, 2 of every elite, and well, minus the avatars, and one of every unique. I only have one of every avatar in here. It's not a play set to have two. You can't play at the same time. So what I'm going to show you guys is the pricing tab on TCGPlayer. You click into your seller dashboard. If you guys haven't seen this, you'll go into the pricing tab, and this pricing tab will only be available to you when you reach seller level 4. But I want to talk about this now because it's important that before you list cards that you really think like, where should I list them? Don't just do all TCGPlayer, right? So click on that pricing tab, and I'm going to try to show it up on the screen right now. This is, essentially what that looks like, and you can export all the pricing to Excel. And I'm going to try to show that up on the screen for Sorcery Beta. Now, I've added a formula here on the right that will essentially do what I've done here. 4 of every ordinary, 3 of every exceptional, 2 of every elite, and 1 of every unique. Now, the last time I checked this price before I recorded this video, it's somewhere around $1,250. And that's if you bought every single card on TCGPlayer from probably 200 different vendors to collect this. Like, there's a massive amount of work if you try to go and buy a full play set of Sorcery on TCGPlayer from a bunch of different people, right? What I've done here, as I've said, I'm going to take a bunch of ordinaries, bunch of exceptionals, I'm going to save my uniques, I'm going to save my elites, and I'm going to put them into a play set, and I'm going to list that on eBay. Now, on eBay, I'm probably going to pay, what, a 10-15% fee or so. On TCGPlayer, it's probably close to 15 to 20%, to be honest, especially after you factor out that 30-cent PayPal fee on low-dollar transactions. We'll get to that in the fees videos. But what my point of the matter is here, I'll probably be able to sell this lot on eBay, $1,500, no problem. I make $1,500 at once. I pay 10%, 15% fee. I ship it. It's done. It's over. All the cards are sold. And I sold it for more after fees than the TCG marketplace price before fees. So if I were to try to sell this all for $1,252 or whatever that number is up on the screen that it's currently at, if I try to sell all of this at that price, I'm going to have to pay probably 15 to 20% fees on it. So let's say I only net $1,000. Well, on eBay at 10%, 15%, I'm going to end up netting somewhere around $1,350. Not only am I making $350 more by just putting the cards together this way, but I sell it all at once. And that's the thing I want you guys to think about. When should you bundle things? When should you sell singles? When should you grade, right? And when you get a card graded, obviously the purpose of grading, and I like to grade high dollar cards, not because I'm going for the 10s, but because it protects your sale a little bit more, right? It's harder to scam you if a buyer says, oh, you sent me a fake card. It's not a fake, it's in PSA. Well, you sent me a different grade. You didn't send me the right one. No, I sent you that serial number that, it's just a little harder for fraud, which is what I like. So high dollar cards, I tend to grade. I tend to list on on eBay. Very low value cards, 5-6 cents. If I have enough in my inventory on TCGPlayer that I'm not detracting from sales, I will take those, put them into lots, and sell them on Discord, Facebook, and if those don't work, I sell them on eBay. When I look at things like this and we reach a point where people are interested in buying certain compilations of cards together, I will try to hold and gather a set like this to put something together to be able to sell it as a bundle of sorts. And the same thing goes for Star Wars Unlimited. If you try to sell all these low-level common cards, you're going to sell them for 5-6 cents a piece. You bundle up a couple booster box worth of common cards, people will pay you $30-40 on eBay, maybe more now because I haven't done it lately, right? So it's convenient for the buyer because they get all those cards at once and they don't have to go fishing through different sellers on TCGPlayer, and it's convenient for the seller You sell the product at once, you capture the money at once, you save time, and that's what it's all about. You have to figure out the best ways to make money selling the cards. It's not just all one channel, a sales channel, not meaning like my YouTube channel, sales channel meaning TCGPlayer is one channel, Discord's one channel, Facebook's one channel, eBay, like whatnot. They're all different sales channels. And you have to really say to yourself, what's the right channel for the type of card? And these are some examples that I gave, right? So kind of to recap today, you know, bundle things as best you can, do the research, determine if selling like bulk lots are good for you and can essentially get you some quick cash flow and eliminate some things. Determine if you want those bulk lots to be in your inventories in TCGPlayer. Generally speaking, everything from $1 to $10, or maybe even $1 to $50 makes a lot of sense selling on TCGPlayer. I probably would say for me, it's $1 to $100 is the sweet spot for TCGPlayer. I think the sweet spot for eBay are things in particular that benefit from photos that are graded, like serialized cards where, you know, people could care about the certain number, like, oh, my birthday is the 19th. I want to collect 19 serialized cards, right? That's the best channel for that. So I hope you guys learned something today. I wanted to start with this before we get further into TCGPlayer specifically, because I think it's important for folks, again, to do that validation on your own and say, right, why am I doing this? Why am I selling on TCGPlayer? Is that how it's going to make me the most money? Or do I just want to sell on TCGPlayer, right? Because sometimes people get stuck in the mindset that, oh, I want to sell on TCGPlayer. And they put the blinders on and they don't look at any other option. Somebody will knock at their door and say, hey, I'll give you $100 for this stack. No. I sell on TCGPlayer. I don't want $100 for this stack. No, these aren't the droids you're looking for. So I hope that made sense. Reach out to me with some questions. Check out my Patreon. Like I said, I can help do some consulting work for you. You know, you can get into my rip and ships and such. And again, thanks for watching. I'm going to try to put these out, like I said, regular cadence. And I have so many topics to discuss. So please stay tuned. Thanks for all your support, and we'll talk to y'all later.